Hey, we're the Shealys. Welcome to the Daily Bread podcast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all things ministry, music, family, creativity, and maybe even a little fashion.
Yay! Hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to another Daily Bread Show episode with Chris and my wife Summer, the Shealys. It is always so much fun to do this together, to share our stories, to share our life, to let you behind the curtain. But we're really grateful that you're tuning in wherever you are, whatever you're working on, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at in the world. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yep.
We are hot and heavy talking about life and the daily yes and a radical yes to the Lord and transitions and journeying. And today I just thought it'd be really cool to talk about some of our ups and downs and how we find our joy in what we're doing and how we process and gain, heaven's perspective on our situations. And so, why don't we just dive in pretty quick and just talk about why we do what we do, what's the joy in our journey, how we find it on a day-to-day even. How do you do that?
That is a deep question.
It's very deep.
Finding your joy, I think, is actually a lot more simple than we often make it. And I think it is really closely linked to, we've talked about this before on not on this podcast, on a different podcast, but always remembering your why. Yeah. And that can change. Like, obviously, ultimately, your why is Jesus. But I think, when you define that out even more, that can change in different seasons. Yeah. But knowing your why can always re-anchor you. Yeah. And that's connected to the joy. So I think it's really easy sometimes to get caught up in the riffraff of the day to day. And sometimes even when things start going really well, then it's like the machine starts running and you're doing your thing. And it's like, oh, now we're going to go do this and we're going to go do this. And then we're going to go. And then it's like, then it becomes more of just like a checklist. Right. And if you lose your joy, then you can get shifted away from your why. Ooh. And then it can change the whole thing that you're doing. The whole
trajectory, yeah. So like finding your joy and knowing your why do you, or how should I say it? Do you find that interesting that that's the first thing that the enemy comes after is joy? Do you find that to be the case for yourself?
I think that if he can get us tired, which is sort of what I just touched on a little bit in getting going in the day to day, and it's like a machine is going, and it's like, oh, it's working, which there's nothing wrong with a grind. Yeah. But a grind has got to be anchored by a why.
Yeah, that's what helps you. So, that's what makes it unto something.
Right. And so if the enemy can get us tired, and what can prevent you from getting tired is the joy. Mm-hmm. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Joy isn't always a feeling. Yeah. Joy is a knowing.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but if he can get you tired, that's all it takes. Because if you get tired, you start letting your guard down. Yeah. Then other thoughts start coming in. Other emotions start coming in. Let's maybe do it this way, or I don't even know why we were doing it that way to begin with. Let's try this other way. And that all really comes from getting tired. Ooh. And so that's actually, it's like a whole nother topic,
I was about to say, we should just save that for another episode.
Resting. But it is closely linked to the joy. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Come on. Prevents you from getting tired or burnout, if you will. Yeah. And that's not even just related to ministry. Like that's just life in general.
Well, you get burnout doing something that doesn't bring you joy. That happens quick. Like, yeah, that's I read I forget the name of the book, but David Goggins, I follow him. He's controversial. He's harsh, but I think he's so right. And like when you're out running like an ultra marathon or you're out running a marathon, like I just ran a marathon last December. I knew why I was doing it. I actually wrote the why on my arm, and it it was inevitable there would be a point during that marathon where I'd bottom out and I'd be tired, like you said, and I'd have no gas in the tank, or so I thought. And I went straight to the why. And the why was like a breath, and it was a reinvigoration, and it brought me joy to think about my why. The why for me made me happy. Mm-hmm. I'm running this because of this. It brought a smile to my face. Joy returned in an instant, and I all of a sudden realized my tank wasn't as empty as I thought it was. Mm-hmm. So anchoring, like you said, on a why, like I could think of countless examples in our life of how that plays out. So we write songs. We love to write songs. Mm-hmm. We love to write for the church, and we also write for outside the church. But we write because it makes us happy. We love it. Just starting and finishing a song is a lot of fun. We don't write for an outcome. We don't write for, numbers or metrics or whatever. That was never the why. If it was, then we'd get lost in a rat race and become really, the grind of the rat race of success or whatever people think that should look like would rob us of that joy. Mm-hmm. If the outcome was our why is we do it because it makes us happy. In addition to that, we do that because it is a calling. It's part of who we are, what we're called to do on the earth. And that just makes me happy. Mm-hmm. So we just keep writing. Regardless of the outcome, we write because it brings life to us, right?
That reminds me of something from university. They teach, I think it was maybe in economics or something. I don't remember the class.
Oh, I slept through economics.
We did they did this whole, it was like more than a class, but it was learning the difference between a quantitative analysis and a qualitative analysis.
Whoa. Listen, Miss 3.98 GPA.
Listen.
Easy.
Hey, that's not very high anymore because they go to 5.0.
Well, they didn't back when we were in school.
So just for reference, when I was in school, and this is showing my age, 4.0 was the top benchmark.
I bragged on you to our son, Jude, who's 13, and I was like, Mom almost had a 4, like literally almost a 4.0. He goes, that's nothing. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, they've changed the whole metric system, so let's not throw out the GPA. Okay, rabbit trail.
Yeah.
My point in saying that is you said something about measuring with numbers.
Metrics, yeah.
That's quantitative analysis. It's analyzing everything that you're doing with numbers.
Yeah.
Versus a qualitative analysis is measuring everything that you're doing based on like how well it is done. Oh my
gosh, yeah. That's
the quality
really good.
Of something. Quality. That is anchored to your why.
Yeah.
What the enemy does when you are tired, because you said what's the first thing he comes after is joy. You lose your joy when you're tired.
Yeah.
Is all of a sudden you start functioning with a quantitative analysis. Everything's numbers. Okay, we're going to adjust this because these numbers are down. Okay, we're going to not do this anymore. This isn't just in music. Like I'm saying, this is in life, looking at your budget. Right. We're going to adjust this because this isn't great.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that nothing I ever say is a blanket statement. Right. I'm not saying don't say, well, we're not going to do an adjustment, because the Shealy said not to do something based off numbers. No, I'm just saying that's not how you want to run your life.
No, you don't, because can you imagine, like, I feel like you hit a slipstream there of revelation that's going to help people watching this. And obviously, most of the people we spend time with are worshipers, worship leaders within the church, creatives in the church. But even so far beyond that, like in everything you do, but specifically for us as worship leaders and others watching this that are worship leaders, can you imagine if we based our joy on our numbers of streams or our numbers of followers? Or there will always be people with higher numbers. There will always be people with more streams and more follows and likes. That is not even a factor, and it shouldn't be for you watching, into why you're doing what you're doing. That will not bring you joy.
Right.
Because we sit with a lot of people who have great numbers and they're very unhappy and they're miserable. They're lost in the race.
Right.
Because that even doesn't bring them joy. So it's like that outcome's never the thing. That's not the joy set before us.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's so funny because that's like applicable to everything in life.
Across
It's
the board,
like, would you rather write 500?
Unless you're a stockbroker.
This podcast is mostly for creatives. So
yes.
If you're writing songs, like, would you rather write, 5,000 songs that are just absolutely weird and ridiculous, but you're like, hey, I wrote 5,000 songs. What are they about? I don't know, like everything. Or would you rather have like 50 songs that are absolutely outrageously influential because you took the time to craft them, let the Lord breathe into the creation of them? So that's the quality versus the quantity.
Yeah.
And that God can give you a revelation in a moment of like, okay, now that you've connected with me and have the quality of what you're doing down, then the quantity.
Right. Well, numbers are a part of it. They are,
is a
but
part
not
of
the
it,
leading, motivating.
But it can't be connected to the why.
Right. If my job was to sit in a room and churn out 50,000 songs in a year, oh, that would suck.
Yeah.
That would really suck. I'd rather take time. Like for our album we're working on, we did like 45 songs and whittled it down to less than 10. But they're super high quality, man. Like, and they mean something to us. Yeah. They're rich, it's, yeah.
So we can segue, I guess, out of that. You said something about our album that we're working on.
Oh gosh.
There's a theme running through, I'd say 80% of what's on there, and it's walking on water.
And that's not uncommon, and not just the songs that we're writing for our album. It's our life.
Yeah.
It's sort of a story that we're telling with the Lord and our faith journey, right?
Yeah. So we could talk about that for a minute.
Let's talk about walking on water.
Yeah.
Meet me out on the water.
It's funny because it's one of those things we didn't realize in the writing until now that we're 6 months outside of it. Even some of the songs that weren't even chosen ultimately to be on the album, they literally have the lyric or allude to, we were made to walk on water. Yeah, we were. And I think that is something that the Lord is like resurfacing to the forefront of not just for creatives, but like his sons and daughters in general. Yeah. So it's a way of life. It is. Like a way of living that is way outside of what we were actually raised to do. Is it fun? We were raised to like, and this isn't a knock on like how you were raised. It's just, we got so comfortable as sons and daughters, especially inside the church. It's very easy to not ever have to walk on water in our life in America. It is, because we don't, that's an important note in America. Some countries don't have the luxuries of what we have, what we have to build our safe little boats, and everything we need is in the boat. Yeah, it is. And we just row along till we get to the next island. And then I like your row motion. Well, I do little rows, okay? I'm like a high reps, low weight kind of girl. Okay, good. I try not to bulk. That's important to know. Yeah, we like the gym, so sorry, it's a gym reference. Yeah, anyway. No, we get comfortable in our boat. Yeah. We have everything we need. We might stop off here, stop off there, but we just keep rowing in the boat. Right. And the Lord's like, there's actually a whole nother world out here. Well, what did he do? He invited Peter to join him. Yeah. Peter saw him and jumped out. Or I forget the exact scripture. It was like, Lord, call me to you, or something like that. But forgive me for not having that verbatim. But it was an invitation to join on the water. There was a storm happening. Yeah. And they were caught in fear. The disciples were, basically paralyzed with fear and what to do. And they were looking around. While they're floating in their safe boat. Looked out, and there he was. Yeah. In the middle of the storm. Just walking on the water, man. And he said, why don't you come out here and join me? Yeah. That's a crazy thing. So we wrote this song about walking out on the water. I'm not sure by the time this airs, it may be released. It's probably one of the coolest songs we've written in a while, but we had this thought, okay, what if we lived our life? What if we're Peter? What is not clear is, what's clear is he did go out and join Jesus in the water, and he sank, and he pulled him back up. But after that, like, that was the thought behind writing the song. It was more of a question. Okay, so what happened then? Like, how long did they stay out on the water talking? Right. What if, I like to imagine, so what's the opposite of exegesis? I'm not saying this is scriptural, but in my head, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to pick Jesus' brain and Peter's brain and get there on that day and say, what if Peter turned to the other disciples after he had
gathered himself and he was standing on the water with Jesus for however long they were out there doing whatever it is they were doing, and invited them to join him too.
Right.
And what if we lived our life from that place, walking on water with Jesus in faith, just literally staying? I think one of the lines in the verse is, I think I'll stay a little longer out here on the water. Like, what if after you've made it through the testing part of that, and you realize, oh, I could actually stay here with Jesus in the midst of a storm and get what I need in a different kind of security. What if we live like that?
I think it was for me, the Lord's been unpacking that, and it was an invitation of, you can stay in your boat and go to where you're going, or you can come out on the water and come to me. Ooh. What's your destination? Are you trying to get to the end of your vision and the end of what you think is your assignment, right, or your current plan and project, whatever it is you have going on? Or are you trying to get to Jesus?
Yeah.
Because in that moment, that was the invitation from the Lord, was
come to me.
Come to me. Keep your eyes focused on me. Come out here, step out on this water, and you're going to get to come to me. And so it was a real, like, a good convicting moment for me. And it was like, okay, sure, I can stay in the boat and he'll keep me safe there and he'll let me go to where I'm going. Because again, that's his goodness. Or though, if it is ultimately if he is my prize and he is my vision, then I've got to get out of the boat and walk on the water to get to him.
Golly, you have to.
And so from what we can see in scripture, Peter was the only one that caught the glimpse of that. That doesn't mean the other ones didn't, but he was the first one.
Jeez, that's so deep. That takes me a lot of places in my head. Wow. Woo!
So, yeah, walking on water.
We're designed.
We were made to do it.
We're destined to live that kind of life with Jesus.
The Lord spoke. We were leading worship. Jesus, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. It was a worship night where we lived at the time. And I just kept hearing these words in my spirit churn. I have called you a son and a daughter so that you could walk on water. And I'm like, that's actually part of my DNA as a daughter of the King, to live a life of walking on water. Have you ever had those moments where you meet somebody and it's like, you don't know why, but it's like instantly your spirit's like, boom.
Yeah.
To me, I think often that's because that's a fellow water walker.
A fellow water walker. That's a tongue twister. A fellow water walker.
It's like, hey, you get me.
You get it. You're doing this.
You get, like, not just my personality. It's not a personality thing. It's like, you get my life with Jesus, my walk with Jesus, and your story and my story might be different, but we're out on the water and we're like walking parallel like this. And it's like, oh, hey, there's other people out here. Oh, hey, this is okay. All right, there's other people. We're out here, like, and it's all of a sudden like you have this out of body experience where you start looking around. This is where the Lord's had me. And you're like seeing these other people, and it's like this mass of people. Yeah,
but what's that indicative of? That's what's going on in the body of Christ. It's a new season of invitation.
God is giving this invitation of getting out of your boat. And I actually had this frustrating conversation with the Lord. I was telling you, like, about a month ago because of the transition period we're in. And I'm like, God, I'm tired. Like, I think I need to just go back to can I have a boat minute?
I need a nap, God.
I need a boat minute. Like, I'm not saying no, I'm not quitting. I'm tired, because sometimes what happened to Peter when he started looking around? Yeah. He sank, right? So it's like you have to keep everything focused, your eyes on Jesus. And the Lord's like, you can do that. But he's like, Summer, the irony is if you want to go back to the boat, you still have to walk on water to get there.
You got to get back, yeah.
Or you can just stay focused on me and keep walking forward. And it was almost like, oh, I don't have time for that.
Woo! No, you don't have time to walk back. No.
I don't have time to walk backwards.
Oh, Lord Jesus, we've come this far. Yeah.
To still have to, I'm going to have to walk on the water just to get back to where I was, because now I'm so far out here.
So you landed on, I think I'll go a little farther.
Yeah, and he said, if you stay out on the water, you're only going to get stronger.
Come on. Woo!
So I think that's invitation. Like the first thing the enemy wants to do is isolate you and think nobody has this story. Nobody could possibly understand what I'm going through. Nobody could possibly understand the sacrifices I've made. Nobody could possibly understand the trials that I've walked through or what it's costing and all of these things.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to compare our story to someone else's, but it is the ultimate go-to of the enemy is isolation.
Yeah.
And I think what the Lord is allowing us to see is that there is a mass of people out on the water, and it's not isolated.
In this
You're
season.
not isolated.
Yeah.
And there is strength. Like when you realize there's actually a community of people out on the water, your spirit is strengthened.
Yeah. Well, we have these friends that are in a transition season. They're moving geographically. They've left their church jobs, their security in the last year, launched a ministry, gotten courses up and going, and they're doing great. And then in the midst of that, the Lord told them, actually, I had a prophetic word for them on a Sunday. And then they, as a family, are literally decided that, yes, we are supposed to move geographically. But we have this back and forth with this couple, and it's refreshing because one day we may be down and they're up, and vice versa. And we just send each other these notes. We send each other these reminders of like, yes, we're out here on the water. And sometimes it feels like we're standing butt naked on the water, completely exposed. You said that. Mm-hmm. I'm just out here butt naked on the water. Like it feels that way. You're exposed.
You don't have the safety of any of the boat itself or anything in the boat.
You just exposed.
It's just
you're out
yourself.
There. And we draw strength from other people's stories. We touched on this on one of the last episodes. Like, there's a strength in numbers. There's a strength in sharing stories. There's a strength in leaning in. But you wouldn't know just how safe you are and just how many people are around if you didn't let somebody in to know.
Right.
Or open your eyes, or maybe ask God to give you eyes to see who are those around me that are doing similar things, that are walking a faith journey out on the water that I can draw strength from, because we need that. We desperately need that. And we will take full advantage of it because it gives us life to see other people doing crazy things and risking everything for the Lord. Like, that's the way we're supposed to live. We're not supposed to live safe. We're not supposed to live just these really finely measured lives of just safety. And the Lord never called us to that. He called us to trust and obedience and risk. He called us to walk on the water. This is our gift from Him.
I had this lyric when we were doing a prayer set a few weeks ago come up. It said, we don't have time to look around when we're casting our crowns on holy ground.
Come on.
And I feel like that is so connected to this season of walking on the water and being out of the boat and keeping your eyes completely focused on Jesus and not looking around. And it's not saying being out of touch, because we are in the world.
Right.
We're not of it. We are in it. So it's not a free pass to be out of touch with what's going on around you.
Sure.
But what I felt like the Lord was saying in that moment was, you do not have time, Summer, to have your focus on all of the things that are around. If we are truly focused on Him and His face, and we are standing out there on the water, and He is our prize.
Yeah.
He is our fulfillment of everything.
Come on.
That is holy ground. Where He is, and because He is in us, and we are sons and daughters of a living God, wherever we are is holy ground. And we spend our life casting every crown. Everything we build, we lay it right back down.
Yeah, it's His anyway.
Everything He's given us, we give it right back.
His.
So whether you are on the mountaintops or in the trenches of grief and the wilderness, everything we have is His anyways.
Yeah.
And there's no time to be caught up and focused on the quantitative analysis of the things that we're doing, all the numbers. Right. If we are truly focused on Him and sitting at His feet, walking on water, we can't help, like, we will be casting our crowns. Everything we have is His. There is no such thing as building a number. It's altars.
Yeah. And wow. There's no such thing as building in numbers. We're building altars. And those are the things, the altars these altars of remembrance, the altars of offering to him, that is the joy set before us. That's what really makes us come to life.
And it's a joy. Like every time we get like an earthly accolade, to throw that at his feet is like an offering or a crown, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get better than that.
No, you just give it right back. Everything he's given me, I give it right back.
And so just tying that together with like where we started, you know, with talking about the measuring, you know, of the quality or the quantities, it's like that, it just loops right back into being on the water, eyes on him. There's no time to go back to the boat.
Yeah.
There's no time to look around. Everything we have anyways is a gift and an honor and an offering to throw at his feet.
And there are seasons where you'll look around at what you're doing, back to the whole joy set before us thing. And for those that are in a transition as well, it's like every transition we step into, we always reassess, right? We always ask ourselves, are we doing what we want to do with who we want to do it with, where we want to be doing it? I think those are very important questions to ask. And that is also a marker of, oh yeah, if all those are a yes, this is still the joy set before me. If some of those are a no, you got to find the yes. You got to be where that is a yes. You got to do what you want to do, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. If it's writing songs, if it's building buildings, if it's flipping houses, if it's selling insurance. It's all a life of walking on water. It all takes massive trust. We have a friend in the city who I think he's one of the greatest examples of somebody in our life that walks on water that we've learned from. And this guy is a construction guy. Like he has big residences, multifamily residences, big buildings in downtown, like multiple houses. And he is walking on water in faith, and he's doing all of that because it brings him joy. And it's such a ministry to him. But his life looks different than ours, right? It's the way he applies walking on water is so similar to what we're talking about now. It's nothing to do with like music. And so that being said, it's just whatever you're doing, you could live this way. There's an invitation to live this way and to not get stuck in the numbers of it all and to do really crazy things with Jesus.
It's the joy of casting our crowns.
Yeah.
You know?
Whatever it is.
That's also where we started, was how do we find the joy?
Yeah.
The joy of casting our crowns. And in different seasons, that's different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's my time. Sometimes it's my yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is an accolade. Cutting something off and leaving something behind. Because transition looks like leaving things so that you can move to new things.
Right.
Everything doesn't go.
Nope. Yeah, we touched on that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It can't.
And that's normal. That's not a bad thing. It's figuring out what's supposed to go and what's not supposed to go.
Well, you even in that, even though it's painful, and we did touch on this one of the last episodes, it still can be a perspective shift for you to say, okay, God, if I'm letting down these things, if I'm laying these crowns down, if I'm laying down these friendships or relationships, whatever.
Yeah.
This brings me joy because I know you've got something better on the other side of this transition. Oh, that makes me happy because you always provide. Like for us, when we've transitioned everywhere we've gone, we've moved a lot. We've done a lot of like geographical transitioning.
I've moved a whole lot. You
way more than me because you also were raised in a ministry family. So you know the sacrifice of this, like more than anybody that I know personally. But one of the first things we pray for every time we're going is, all right, Lord, you've provided friends for us here, mainly for our kids. You've provided friends for our kids that they love. Do it where we're going, God. Go ahead, move before us, go ahead of us and make a way for our kids. And he's done that every single time we've ever moved.
Yeah.
And they're always so taken care of. It blows my mind. And I'm happy to go through the journeys of what a transition can feel like and look like. I just really want my kids to be taken care of in it. And he's done that. So it's just across the board. Like the why for us is different from people watching's why, but the practicals of how you navigate it are really all the same.
It's like we had a mentor one time that said, we all have the same problems. We just have the different number of zeros in our accounts.
Yeah.
which is saying again exactly the same thing you just
problems,
said.
Just different zeros.
We're all navigating the same decisions, basically, just maybe at different levels.
Yeah.
But that's the strength in numbers thing, the walking out on the water. No matter what your story is or where you're at in your story, as sons and daughters, we were meant to live it walking out on the water.
Yes.
Not in the comfort of the boat or all of the things in the boat or where we think the boat is taking us.
Yeah. Wow.
We're meant to be out on the water, walking towards Jesus.
Walking with Jesus, yeah. That's so good. That's so helpful. Well, thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Daily Bread Show. Gosh, I enjoyed that one.
It was great.
It was great. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the next one, friends. Be blessed.
Bye. Hey guys, thank you for joining us and listening in.
Yeah, I really hope you liked it. And if you'd like more content like this in the future, would love for you to consider supporting our ministry. We would love to produce a lot more content and keep it all free. So if you're interested, head over to Shealyworship.com/support to find out more.
Thank you guys.